Okay, it's March 1st, 2023. Purim is less than a week away. Everybody's familiar with the megillah, but there is a Mizmor, a chapter from Tehilim, which we read on the night of Purim and on the day of Purim. And since everybody's focus is strictly on megillah and get me in and get me out and don't waste my time and I don't want to drag, nobody ever pays attention, at least nobody that I know of, pays attention to the Mizmor. What is the Mizmor? Why is it this Mizmor? Does it have a connection? Does it not have a connection? Who chose it? When it was chosen? I hope to present some of these details. Okay? So the Mizmor, you can open up in Tehilim Mizmor Kaf Bet. Okay, Mizmor 22. لما نصيح على أيلة الشاحر مزمور داوود. From the get-go, what is it? لما نصيح على أيلة الشاحر مزمور داوود. Nobody even knows what the أيلة الشاحر is. Some people tell you it's an instrument. Some people tell you it's the morning dawn. Some people tell you it's a female deer. The commentators, all the various hakamim, whether it be Sa'adiyya Gaon or Rashi or Ibn Azra or anybody else, each one has a different version as to what Ayat al-Shahar even means. So what's the connection now to Purim? What's going on? So before we get there, we have to see, is there another Mizmor in Tehilim that's possibly more apropos for the holiday, or this is the proper Mizmor? Now, how do we go out and find out these things? Genizah studies. The Genizah has unearthed for us hordes of countless treasures that they're still sifting through. They're still trying to examine what happened to the Jewish nation, to our liturgy, to our halakha, the way things are done. And it seems that the recitation of Mizmor, the night of Purim, as well as on any holiday that we have, right? Rosh Hashanah, we have a Mizmor. Pesach, we have a Mizmor. Shavuot, we have a Mizmor. Sukkot, we have a Mizmor. All the holidays, we have a Mizmor. And these all seem to go back to the ancient minhag of Eretz Yisrael, not to what was going on in Babel. And therefore, you see no mention of any of these Mizmorim, or even the concept of saying a Mizmor anywhere in the Gemara. It doesn't exist because they didn't do it in Babel, but it existed in Eretz Yisrael. And that we still do it is a vestige of the old minhagim of Eretz Yisrael. First point. In the Genizah, we find different testimonies as to what the Mizmor could have been. This is one choice, Mizmor Kaf Bet. And there's another bunch of Genizah manuscripts that point to Mizmor Zayin. Okay, if you want, you can go look at Mizmor Zayin. Okay, Shigayon le David. And it's interesting, if you look at Mahazor Aram Soba, it has that Mizmor 7, not Mizmor 22. And also in the Mahazor of the Romanio communities. Romanio communities are the Jews that were exiled from Israel and taken into Rome by the Romans and then dispersed in the Byzantine Empire, whether it be in Rome, in Italy, in Greece, or in Turkey, in certain locales. And their Mahzor, their ancient Mahzor, they had Mizmor 7, Shigayon David. Okay, we'll leave it alone for now. What do we see in Mizmor 7? Okay, that really points to the holiday. You look at Pesukim 15, 16, 17 in that Mizmor. Okay, without going through the entire Mizmor, because that's not our focus of the night. Let's look at Mizmor for a second. Yeah. Hine yhabbil avin v'hara amal v'yalad shakir. بور كرا بيحفره ويبول بشاحة إفعال يشوب عملو بروشوب على قدو حماسو يريد. So the Pesukim in that Mizmor telling us, see how the wicked conceives evil, and the wicked person is always pregnant with mischief, and he gives birth to lies. He digs a pit and he digs it deep, and he himself falls into the hole that he has made, and his mischief will recoil upon his own head, his violence will come down upon his own skull. Okay, and this is a very clear reference to Haman. Okay, we know what Haman did. Haman toiled and he planned and he made it, this whole case. Okay, and in the end, we see, just look at the very end, he built the gallows to hang Mordechai, and he was hung on it. So that's the clear reference. There's no question whatsoever. But now, let's get to our Mizmor 22. So, the earliest sources that we have, other than Genizah fragments that talk about it, we have the Tosafot. Okay, now Tosafot were in France, right? So the Tosafot in the Pirush or Masechet Megillah, they mention it and they say because it talks about the downfall of adulterers. We'll go a little further ahead and we'll explain how and why. Then we have three sources from Spain. Okay, we have Sefer HaManhig. He even though he's originally from Provence, he was talking about, in this case, about the Minhag in Spain. We have the Tur, who is the son of the Rosh, who was originally from Germany, but he was in Toledo, Spain, talking about the Minhag in Toledo. And we have Abu Dirham, okay, also in Toledo, Spain, in that region, and he talks about the Minhag. And all three of them say that this is the custom to say this Mizmor 22, Ayilat Shahar, for Purim, both at night and during the day. Okay? We're clear so far? Good. Now, the way they all refer to it, when it's talking about during the day, and these are all halakhic sources, whether they're talking about the Tosafot, or Sefer HaManhig, or the Tur, or Abu Dirham, all halakhic sources that teach us halakha. And when they talk about it, they all say that a holiday Mizmor replaces the Mizmor of the day. Okay? Now, technically, that is what should be. And in many of the Sephardi communities, that's what happens. In the Syrian community, that doesn't happen. The Mizmor of the day doesn't get replaced. Okay? In the Iraqi community, which is technically not Sephardi, it also does not get replaced. Okay? It's just an addition. And the interesting thing, just we're talking about Syrians for a second, Syrians never add a Mizmor, ever. For any holiday, for any event whatsoever, okay? Except for Purim. It's the one and only time that they add a Mizmor after the Mizmor of the day. No, it's not added. It's said when taking out Sefer Torah. Okay? That's just a side point. Now let's go through the different reasons for saying this Mizmor. And then I hope to present my own reason that I came up with. You'll like it, but I think you'll like it. I think you'll all like it. Okay. Okay. So number one, first reason we said that Tosafot mentions the downfall of adulterers. Okay. Look at this Mizmor, right? We're in Mizmor 22. It talks about where are we here? Pasuk Yud Gimel, for example. Okay, Sebabuni parim rabbim abire bashan kitteruni. Okay, what about many bulls surrounded me, strong bulls of Bashan encircled me. Okay, we know the reference to bulls and the idol worship of bulls. Okay, and in Bashan, in those religions and the idolatrous religions, they did these type of things. It also talks, further down in Mizmor, in Pasuk Yud Zayin, Ki sebabuni kelabim, adat miri'im hikifuni, ka'ari yadai v'raghlai. Dogs surrounded me. A mob of evildoers encircle me. Like a lion, they mangle my hands and feet. So all by animals. Animals are always references, according to the Hachamim, to Abdei Avodah Zarah. All types of adulterous things. If you go to Pasuk 22, okay, Hoshi'ani mipi aryeh, umikaneri mi ma'anitani. Rescue me from the lion's jaws. Deliver me from the horns of the wild ox. Again, constant references to wild animals, which are Abdi Abuda Zara. And then finally we get to Buri Ulam in Pasuk 25, the end of the Pasuk, Shavvi'u ilav shamayya. But when I cry out for help, Hashem is there, Hashem listens. Okay, but do we now reading these Pisukim, do we really see a downfall of any nation? We don't see anything. So it's talking about adulterers. So what? What is it saying about them? It's not saying much. If you want to see a downfall of a nation, go to Mizmor Pei Gimel. Okay, Shir Mizmor Asaf. That actually talks about the downfall of Amalek. So go read that Mizmor. Okay, but we have no testimony from any Geniza records or any community whatsoever throughout history that anybody ever used that Mizmor. So obviously, the downfall of a nation cannot be the real reason. Otherwise, they would have picked a different Mizmor. Okay, leave that alone. Next reason. We talked about in the beginning, Ayelet HaShahar. So the second reason is that Esther herself is compared to Ayelet HaShahar. Okay, Sefer HaManhig says so, that Ayelet HaShahar is a term that the Hachamim use for Esther. Okay, and that's based upon the Gemara. Okay, the Gemara, interestingly enough, in Masechet Yomah, which generally deals with issues of Yom Kippur, talks about this over there. لما نمشلا استر لأيلت مبني شرحما صار كأيلا. Interesting. Why is Esther compared to Ayelet? Ayelet is a female deer. Because her rahma, her womb, is narrow, like a female deer. Meaning what? You understand? Amar Bizera. What does Bizera say? لما نمشلا استر لأيلا لومار لخا ما أيلا رحمة صار بحبيبة على بعلا هو شعاب الشعاك شعاري شونا. Okay, same way the Ayela, the female deer, her womb. Okay, we're referring to it as a womb. Okay, it's a rahma, and it's a rahim. It's narrow, and therefore she's more beloved to her spouse each and every hour of every day. Okay, if you understand what I'm referring to. So the same way Esther was beloved to Ahashverosh at every moment of every day. The BSA gave a different explanation. He says, why she referred to and reference to a shahar, to dawn. Same way shahar, dawn, is the end of the night. Esther is the end of all of the miracles. She's the final book entered into the canon of the Bible, of the Tanakh. She's the end of it all. So these are the two explanations given in the Gemara for this particular Mizmor. One referring to the Ayelet part, and one referring to the Shahar part. But both coming together. Okay? And as we said before, the Hachamim themselves, the Rishonim, all have different opinions. As we said, Rashi and Ibn Azra say Ayelet HaShahar is a musical instrument. Ibn Azra also says it could be dawn. Rashi and Radak say it's the connotation for Knesset Israel, for the nation itself. But again, so you're going to say, okay, the opening two words of the Mizmor refer to Esther, and that's the whole reason we read this Mizmor. Still difficult. Abu Dirham brings a novel idea. He tells us, look at Pasuk 21. Pasuk Kaf Alif. Hasila meherib nafshi miyad keleb yahidati. Okay? Save me. Save my life from the sword. Right? My precious soul from those dogs. Hasila meherib nafshi. Rashi tebot Haman. That's what he says. Again, it's not Abu Dirham's style. It's not the style of our Hakamim for countless generations to pick a Mizmor strictly for one obscure Rashi tebot. Let's keep going. Now, if you look in the Gemara, there, as more and more Gemarot get published and printed, they add more and more, to the page. Different commentators, different notes, different things. And in the last 120 years or so, we've seen a really big bang of these things coming out. And Rabbi Akiva Eiger, in his glosses to the Gemara, he says, yes, if you look at Masechet Megillah of the Gemara, okay, on the Aftet Vav Amud Bet, he's saying this refers to Megillat Esther, Perikeh, Pasuk Aleph. He gives a whole thing that Esther stood he gives a midrash basically to explain the Mizmor. So Esther stood in the courtyard of King Ahashverosh when she went to speak to him on behalf of Am Yisrael. Okay? What happened at that moment? Rabbi Levi says that she arrived in the idol room. That sanctuary, all right, that courtyard, before you enter him, was his idol room. That's where he had all his power in the idols. And as soon as she entered there, the Shekhinah left her because of the power of the idols, okay? Because it diminished, the concept of Shekhinah. So she cried out to Borei Olam, Iri, Iri, lama azabtani. As the beginning of the Mizmor says, right? You look at the second pasuk, right? Iri, Iri, lama azabtani. Borei Olam, why'd you leave me? Why have you forsaken me? Don't leave me alone. That's why we read the Mizmor, is what he says. Okay? Hence, we know Ashkenazim also read this Mizmor now. Still, I'm having a hard time. Fifth reason, okay? Based upon something in Masechet Megillah, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says a person must read the Megillah at night and again during the day. As the pasuk in this Mizmor says, Pasuk Gimel, look, Elohai, Ikra Yoma Velo Ta'ane Velayla Velo Dumiyali. It refers to calling out to God twice, daytime and nighttime, like reading the Megillah, daytime and nighttime. We have to remember the miracles both day and night. These are all the ideas and the concepts given by various Hachamim, Rabbanim, and what have you throughout the ages. Anybody happy with any of these reasons? Stretches. They're all stretches. I think they're stretches. Okay? I have a problem with all of it. So I went searching. Yeah, what are you allowed to say? Go ahead.
So how come I didn't say Layla first?
I didn't write the Mizmor. I can't tell you. Go ask David HaMelech. Okay.
Right? Also Midrash, right?
Every day, what's Midrash?
No, like Esther and Makkah, this is Midrash.
Again, these are obviously, this is the Midrash. This is obviously David HaMelech wrote it. It says it right there. Okay, it's more than David. That means David HaMelech wrote it. There's no question. Okay, so let's move on. So, as you, yeah, go ahead, Dissy.
Found one word.
Tell me.
Godal.
Okay, I didn't think of Godal, but maybe. But nobody else found that one either. So, I was thinking about the holiday. And I was thinking, and you know me, I'll always find a way to tie it in not only to tradition and to heritage. I'm going to try to find a way to tie it in to halakha and minhag. Okay? And we have a old minhag, which for the most part I consider it dead. Okay? That certain Shabbatot of the year, the Hacham of the Kahal gets up and makes a major dirasha, okay? And he speaks about, what the case may be. In our case, it would be this coming Shabbat, Shabbat Zachor, Shabbat afternoon, the Hacham gets up and makes dirasha for a couple of hours, talking about explanations on the Megillah and about the holiday, ideas and concepts for us to connect to, halachot, minhagim, pirushim, musar, all wrapped up into one. It's a major event, okay? And this happened in Sephardic communities a few times a year, okay? Other than that, there were no speeches, okay?
No Saturday speeches.
No Saturday speech, no. Saturday speeches is something that they picked up here in America from the Protestant preachers. Okay, so you're laughing, but it's true. So here's the deal.
Israel, they don't have speeches?
No.
They still don't, right?
No.
But in Italy,
In Italy, they do? I don't know.
it has to sit through a speech in Italian.
Question is it a new custom or something they did before? I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay. So now, the Hida, as we know, the Hida was a prolific writer. And one of his books, called Kiseh David, is a whole book of dirashot. Okay? And in this book, there's got to be maybe 20 different Shabbat Zachor speeches that he gave. Okay? And they're not short speeches, obviously. Okay? They're very, very long, intricate speeches. But the one theme that we find in practically every one of his speeches for Shabbat Zachor is unity. Unity of the nation. Ahdut. Okay? And then I started thinking about the Mizmor, and about Ahdut, and about Megillat Esther. We have Harambam. If you open up Harambam in Hilchot Megillah, okay, and it falls out the very beginning of Hilchot Megillah. First Perek, first halacha. Kiriyat Megillah Bizmanna. Right, the proper time for the Megillah is its proper time, because there are different scenarios where you could read the Megillah prior to Purim if you're in a situation that's a little bit different than what we're used to today. We're not going to get into that now. Mizvat Aseh Medebrei Sofrim, and this is Mizvat Aseh from the Hachamim. V'hadebarim yedu'im shehi takanat nebi'im, and it's known that this is something that was established by the Nebi'im. V'hakol hayabim b'kriyata, everybody is obligated in the reading of the Megillah. Anashim v'nashim v'gerim v'abadim v'shuhrarim. Okay, everybody, men, women, converts, freed slaves. We even train the children to read it. ואפילו כהנים בעבודתם מבטלים עבודתם ובאים לשמוע מקרא מגילlah. Even kohanim that are involved in their work in the Beit HaMikdash, they stop what they're doing and they go to hear Mikra Megillah. Do you think they didn't have 10 kohanim that they could just read it over there where they are? They stop what they're doing and they go. Ba'im l'shmo, they come to where the people are. Ba'im l'shmo Mikra Megillah. V'chen, not only that, v'chen mebattilim Talmud Torah Mikra Megillah. People are studying, the Midrash is full. People are studying Torah. Rabotai, out. Go to Knis. Time for Mikra Megillah now. You're not staying here to read it. You're going. So annuls this, everything annuls it. And nothing stands in the way of this mitzvah of Mikra Megillah, except for a deceased that has nobody to bury him. That's the only reason that you could get out of going to hear the Megillah. Somebody who happens upon a corpse has to take care of the corpse first and then go to read Megillah. So based upon Harambam, and this is Halakha and Shulchan Aruch as well, and everybody agrees with it, Mikra Megillah calls for everybody coming together. In the words of many other Aharonim, okay, because this stance or the term I'm going to use now is not mentioned in Shulchan Aruch, but it is mentioned in many of the Aharonim. Berob Am Hadrat Melech, pasuk from Mishleh, that the glory of the king is in the multitude of the nation. The more people you have, the greater the glory of Borei Olam is. And in Mikra Megillah, there was a hidden miracle, and because it was a hidden miracle, now we have to constantly proclaim it. We have to make it very, very well known. Now, this idea comes through the megillah itself. Okay? You start with Haman. Now, I'm going to read to you something now that Tehilim wrote. ואפשר, כי המן הרשע כיוון לומר לאחשוורוש לשון הרע בקטרוג גדול, כי החכם להרע היה, וידע כי גדלה שנאת חינם והוא עוון פלילי. Okay? It says, when Haman went to approach Ahashverosh, you think he didn't know what he was doing? You didn't know that he carefully chose his words and he planned every exact notion that he was going to mention to the king so it would work? He was the wisest of Rish'ut. He calls him Hacham Lehara. That's how the Hida terms Haman. And he knew that the problem of Sinat Hinam was very, very great among the Jewish people. And he knew that it was a tremendous avon for the Jewish people. And he knew it was going to be their downfall. And he wanted to use it. And he knew, obviously, through his ancestral tradition, obviously Amalek had a long time standing hatred for Am Yisrael, so they got to know things about the Jews so they could work against them. And that's why he went to Hashverosh. He said, okay? You have this nation that is splintered up, it's separated, it's spread out. They're not talking to each other, they're not friendly with each other, they're not getting together. Okay? שגזר עליהם הגלות והפיזור בעוון היותם מפורד ויש להם שנאת חינם. So you think Jews are all over your kingdom and all 127 nations of yours just like that? God's angry at them. God spread them apart. Their very God is angry. He doesn't like them because he sees how they treat each other. So, and to God, the master of all kings, it's not worthwhile to keep them alive. God's just waiting. So you're a melech. You're part of the kingdom with God. You could help him out to get rid of them. And if therefore, now you're a king, you're like Hashem is a king, and you could be working in cahoots with God. Okay? Put out the order. Write it down. Finish him off. Same way Hashem wants to get rid of them, you're helping Hashem out. You're doing God's will. And to help out this mizvah, we're going to count out to you exactly 10,000 silver shekalim, exactly the amount that they're supposed to be counting out. We're going to make sure that everything weighs in balance. Because why? What's the main gist of the mizvah of shekalim? Anybody? The main, not to count the people, to make it united, to show that you're only using half a shekel because each half has to pair with another half. They have to come together. Okay? And since they're not coming together, we're going to bring you all that money, all the shekalim that come together, and you're going to do God's job. You're going to be a continuation from Melech Melechim to Melech Hashverosh. It's all part of the kingdomship. It's all working together. Okay? And this is how we're going to take the nation that's separate and we're going to do away with them. This is what the Hida says. Obviously, he's using concepts of the Midrash, but concepts that are mentioned by the Hachamim in the Gemara as well. Now, if that's not enough, what happens? This plan comes to play, and not only do we have, what do you call it? The people of Mefuzar Furad bin Ha'amim, that they're not together and they're working against each other and they're separate. There becomes the queen, okay, and she tries to devise a plan. She doesn't just say, okay, we're all going to pray, we're all going to fast. She has something very, very important. Lech kenos. You have to gather everybody together. There's no more separation. Everybody has to be together. We have to be one unit. Everybody's got to come to Knesset together. We're not making a little house minyan here and a little reading at 10 p.m. over there for those people who don't want to go, and a 9 o'clock reading at this guy's house and 9:15 down the block. And everybody's house nowadays. 50 years ago, nobody had these little house minyan anymore. Purim, it didn't exist. Nowadays, it's all people want to have. Oh, I don't want to go pray with the people. Fill up the knis. Every knis should be jam-packed to the rafters. If Harambam is telling you they left the Beit HaMikdash, he's telling you they left the Beit Midrash, they left these places, and nowadays, no, we purposely go in a place that there's never a minyan. We're going to make a little 10-person minyan just for the megillah, so we could just do it, by ourselves quietly. It goes against the concept from the megillah. It falls right into what Haman is telling you, and against what Esther HaMelekah, Lech kenos et kol Yehudim. Okay, we need Lech kenos et kol Yehudim. The people have to come together. Okay, and that's why she said it, and she said it again, and she pushed that concept with Mordechai. Now back to our Mizmor. What's unique about our Mizmor? How I see our Mizmor falling in the play of things. Now we're going to read the entire Mizmor, and let's catch it and see how the Mizmor is working. So we open with our opening line. Fine. Now, the individual person is crying out, Eli, Eli, lama azabtani, my God, why have you forsaken me? Far from my salvation are the words that I roar. Elohai, God, I cry by day, you don't answer me, I cry at night, and it's what do you call that? I'm never silent, and I don't get an answer from you, God. Yes, you're holy, okay? You're there, you're receiving the praises of Israel. And back in the old days, okay? Back then, our fathers, they put their trust in you. They trusted in you, you delivered them, you took care of them. Okay? Okay, they cried to you, they were saved, they trusted in you, you didn't disappoint them, everything worked beautifully. Okay? That's the good old days of Am Yisrael, when Am Yisrael was once together at some point. The Anochi Tola'at v'lo ish. Now the person reciting the Mizmor, the Beit HaMelech, is going back to him as in the singular. Okay? I'm a worm. I'm not a man. I'm nothing. Okay? I'm scorned by men. I'm despised by the people. Everybody who sees me, they jeer at me, they curl their lips, wag their heads, right? This is all the people in the days of Haman and Hashverosh, the way they looked at the Jews. Okay? They sneered at the Jews. If one commits himself to Hashem, he will save him, he'll rescue him because he delights in him. If, right? For it's you drew me out from my mother's womb. Okay, you made me secure at my mother's breast. Okay, from birth I was thrust upon you. From my mother's womb, you have been my God. I'm stuck with you. I didn't pick you, you didn't pick me, it just happened to come out that way. But now, don't stay far away from me. Trouble is near, there's nobody to help me. I need you. Okay? And then they saw it with the part that we brought before about all the Abdi Avodah Zarah, all the people like Amalek and Haman and all the Rishaim of all the different countries. The bulls surrounded me, the strong bulls of Bashan encircled me. They opened their jaws wide against me like roaring hungry lions. Okay, I'm poured out like water. All my My bones are out of whack. They're torn at the joints. My heart's like wax. It's melting within me. يبيش كحرس كحي وشوني مدباك مالكحاي في العفار ما بتشبتني. My strength is dried up. My tongue sticks to my palate. I'm laying in the dust. I'm dying. Again, the dogs are coming. They're surrounding me. Okay, I'm one single person, and you have all these animals coming against me. First, you had the bulls, and you have the lions, and now you have the dogs, and they're coming in groups to get me. Okay, and they mangle my hands and feet. I can count all my bones. People stare and gloat over me. They're taking, they're taking choices. Okay, I'm going to take his clothes. I'm going to take his rings. I'm going to take his wallet. Everybody wants a piece of something. But you, Hashem, please don't be far away. Be my strength. Come to my aid quickly. Save my life from the sword, my precious soul from these dogs. Okay, so rescue me from the lion's jaws, deliver me from the horns of the wild ox. And here we turn from the singular. Now we're going into the group. Okay, I'm going to declare your fame to my brethren. We have people now. I will praise you in the midst of the assembly. Now we have a kahal. Okay, the kahal is where? In the kinis. All the people are coming together. Here's your connection. Connection one. Hallelujah is praise, right? They're going to praise God. Honor him, all you people who are descendants of Yaakov. Stand in awe of him, all you descendants of Israel. For he has not spurned, he hasn't disdained the misery of the afflicted, nothing. He's not hidden his face from them, but he's listened. Every time that people cry for help, Hashem is listening. That's what I'm going to go into the kahal, and that's what I will proclaim to them. You are the theme of my praise. Where? Kahal Rab. Again, kahal Rab, a great assembly. I will pay my vows in the presence of those who revere him. So we have two places. We're using kahal Rab. We don't have this any place else in Tehilim. Okay? The poor shall eat, be satisfied. Okay? It's all very nice and well. Those who seek the Lord, those people are going to pray him. Then you're going to have a good heart forever once you connect back with Borei Olam. And that's when the ends of the earth remember. Okay, they remember. What happens? We come to the end. We come to Megillat Esther. We go to Perek Tet. Perek Tet and Megillat Esther. All of a sudden, the whole tune of the Megillah changed to that tune of salvation. And what word is being used throughout? We start with Pasuk Bet, if I'm not mistaken. Nikhalu ha-Yehudim. The Yehudim became a kahal. The same word of the Mizmor, kahal. Nikhalu ha-Yehudim ba'arihim. We don't find this concept of kahal in Megillat Esther until we get to the last perek. Like some we're getting to the end of the Mizmor, we're getting to the end of the Megillah. And then it repeats itself. You have it in Pasuk Bet, and then you have it again in what pasuk did it go in? Continues in this whole here. Then you get to pasuk 15. Vayikahaluha Yehudim, and then Nikaluha Nikalu ba'amod nafshan pasuk Tetzayin, and again Nikalu one more time. Yehudim Hashem Nikalu b'shoshasa, and it keeps repeating itself more and more. Nikalu each time that they became a kahal. But not only that, tells you all the people from the ends of the earth. And that's when you get to the very end of the Megillah. Okay? The end of the Megillah. He sent to all the corners of the earth. Okay, we're dealing with all the countries and all the islands, and and the raising up of Mordechai becomes public knowledge to all. Okay, and here it is, public knowledge to all. And now all the goyim that were originally planning on fighting against Am Yisrael, now they're all bound to Am Yisrael. Same thing that what happens in that last perek of the Megillah. And then you finish off the Mizmor. And that is the connection, in my eyes, to the entire holiday, to the Megillah, to what's going on with the halakha, with the reading of the Megillah, with the ahadut of Am Yisrael, and that's the way I see it. Any questions, any comments? I'm more than open.
It's a beautiful concept. My opinion, what
Yeah.
you said, that's his point.
No, he didn't have a point. He just, it was easier to read the piece from the Hida over here. That's why I didn't quote anything from him.
It's amazing how holy you brought it up. Because they said, you know, even if they're learning in the Kollel and they said they're going out, everybody stop learning, go. The same thing that they say in the morning, you have mentioned Shema. They have to go, we gotta pray.
You gotta go.
It's the same type of level, which is amazing.
Megillah is very, very, very strong, and people have to come together for it. And unfortunately, like I said, people aren't coming together. Every time I turn around, there's another guy. You know, I'm a reader. I have slots open. They keep getting ads for slots open. You know, I'll come read in your house. Yeah, it's all about money. They turn the religion into a mockery.
And also, they ran around like 3-4 years ago, I see COVID, but it's not COVID anymore.
COVID's over, thank God. Anyway, Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'amen.